Well, hi everyone. Welcome Boise Entrepreneur Week listeners and viewers. We're so excited to have you back for our final session here at Boise Entrepreneur Week. I'm Sean Keithley. I'm the Economic Development Director here at the City of Boise in the Mayor's Office. And it's absolutely my privilege to be joined by Robert Spendlove, Economist with Zions Bank. And the two of us are just going to have a conversation right now about what's happening in Boise, how's it feeling, and what the future holds. So with that, Robert, great to be here with you.
It's great to be with you, Sean.
Yeah, likewise. How's Boise Entrepreneur Week gone for you so far?
It's been great. I love the vibe of Entrepreneurship Week. It's you feel the enthusiasm, you feel the excitement, and it's such a great event.
Yeah, totally feel the same way. I was at the Founders and Funders dinner last night. One of my favorite events here at Boise Entrepreneur Week, just because it's, to me, kind of encapsulates everything about our ecosystem here. I mean, you have a place where you're probably like one phone call or one, hey, can I chat with this friend of yours introduction type of place where capital and ideas and people make those ideas happen are just accessible. It's the kind of place that Boise is, and having that environment here I think is such an important part of our ecosystem. Trailhead's a huge part of that. Boise Entrepreneur Week sort of takes that and puts it on steroids for a week. So anyway, yeah, no, it's easy for me to be a cheerleader and supporter and advocate for Boise because that's a big part of my job. But I'd love to hear sort of your perspective too. And gosh, I'm not here to interview you, but I'm just really curious because you're out of Salt Lake much of the time. I know you spend a lot of time here in Boise. But what are some of the things that you notice here in Boise that make it special, coming from someone who's a little bit on the outside of our ecosystem full time anyway?
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on it. I get to ask this question all the time. What's the secret sauce of Idaho? What's the secret sauce of Boise? Why is the economy so strong relative to other areas? And I think you kind of touch on that. It's that feeling of enthusiasm, but it's also that access. It's that you can really feel that everyone's working together. Everyone's trying to help each other. It's not this dog eat dog. You can only get ahead if you take someone else down, and that is what makes entrepreneurs successful. Is working with each other, getting information from each other, interacting with each other, and there's really that strong sense in Boise.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you see that. That's something that I'm just really proud of as a Boisean, something that I know is a big part of our calling card as a city and what puts us on the map for a lot of things, including entrepreneurship. That secret sauce is something that's really hard to replicate. But obviously there's something deeper too, and there are numbers behind that. There are like real reasons why this works, beyond just all the things that we know make it great, the culture that we have, all those things that we work so hard to keep intact and to put forth and make sure other people feel it. Beyond that too, there's got to be other things that help drive this economy. And so with your Economist hat on, what are some of those sort of like those hard ththings that you see driving the economy and maybe that portend a good future for things here in Boise?
Yeah, so if you look at like the data, so it's really hard to represent the secret sauce with data because it's kind of, and it's intangible, right? Yeah. And so we try over and over again to try to quantify this, and you can't do it perfectly, but I'll give you a few things that are part of that secret sauce.
And we also don't want to divulge all the secrets.
I know, exactly. See, don't tell anyone. No, hopefully no one's paying attention. Demographics. We have a young population, younger than the national average. We have higher, so you call it natural increase, a higher birth rate than the national average. So that feeds into a strong education system, which then feeds into a strong workforce. So if you're a business looking to expand, you want that good workforce. You want that dynamic workforce. So that's helping. And then you've got, this is a little more intangible, but we all know it, quality of life. The quality of life is just so high in Boise relative to other areas. We're not totally isolated in this. There's other nice areas around the country, but Boise is really unique where it has the amenities of a large city, but it has that quality of life, that access to amenities that you can't get in a lot of other cities. And so people want that. They want more of that, and they want to be part of it.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I think that one of the things we have in Boise, obviously, is you've got a lot of things that are really close together in a relatively small area that just make it easy to access, easy to experience. People coming from other larger cities where those things aren't at your front door. I mean, looking out the windows here on some majestic foothills that are literally within, a 5-minute drive or probably less than a 10-minute bike ride from right here in downtown. That's something that I don't even know if I can name a city where you can get that kind of access to the natural environment.
Yeah, and the walkability.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a big deal. I spend a lot of time in a lot of cities, and a lot of cities are not walkable. Like, you have to drive to go anywhere. And Boise just has this cool factor. You can go to bars and restaurants all over the place downtown, and people love that. And then a quick drive, you're out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. Exactly.
Yeah. It's that feel you get in this vibrant downtown. And I don't have to tell everyone listening here at Boise Entrepreneurial Week for folks who are in Boise, but if you're not from Boise, this is something that is really special, I think, about our city that a lot of cities don't have. And I think it directly impacts the success of our entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I mean, you're at the city, you've been with the city for a long time, you're in economic development. Mm-hmm. How do you build on that and drive that? How much of that was organic versus kind of designed?
Yeah.
Do you design a walkable area? I know you can design walkability, but do you design this secret sauce, or how do you encourage it?
I think there's a lot that's gone into it, and obviously credit that goes back generations, and just many hands touch this, right? But from my perspective, what it takes is a lot of the basic things right. You want to create a place where people want to be downtown. We've worked very intentionally to do that as a city. We've had leadership that has helped to make that happen. Again, very intentionally, both in the public sector and the private sector. And where those two meet is often where that secret sauce is, because if you don't have the support of the public sector to make things happen, and you don't have a willing private sector willing to invest in the places that they care about, like downtown Boise and some of the great foothills and parks and all the things, the pathways that connect them, then it just doesn't happen. So it takes that care and investment in the community from pretty much everyone, right? But I'll give a couple examples. If you think about where we are right now was created. I mean, you have the Jefferson Blood Company, a company and a family, a person that had a great deal of care for Boise, and what that grew into was the place that we're sitting here right now in. This is this passion project, exactly, and great place for community events. Mm-hmm. You go over a couple of blocks and you have the Grove Plaza, you have 8th Street. Those things were created out of things where there wasn't necessarily a lot there before. Urban renewal back in the 1960s, without going deep into that, had an effect on Boise's downtown, and it was sort of a phoenix rising from the ashes sort of effect that came about because of civic leadership, because of a great deal of care from people in the community and from folks in the private sector that were willing to make investments to make that happen. And things like, the sponsor, I should say, of title sponsor of this year's Boise Entrepreneur Week, the Capital City Development Corporation, which we've worked hand in hand with as a city, had a great deal of impact on the redevelopment of downtown. So it's really interesting to see those through lines come together and where you can see where these things connect. If you ever wonder why a city and redevelopment agency play a big part in supporting organizations like Trailhead and Boise Entrepreneur Week, you can see the things that come from that help to create the environment where these sorts of things thrive. I would love to have our next BEW session last an hour and a half, and we could talk all about that.
I know, right? Yeah. So we only have a few more minutes. I'd like to. Economists are the dismal scientists, so we have to talk about the struggles. When I think about struggles with our local economy, one of the biggest ones is affordability, right? I mean, we're doing great. My theory is growth is always good. I'd rather have growth than the opposite.
Right.
But there are struggles with growth. Infrastructure, transportation, keeping up with that, keeping up with this kind of growth, and then also of affordability. And so we are seeing that. It's something that people are experiencing, and it's a tough adjustment. We're in a much higher interest rate environment.
Mm-hmm.
Housing prices are higher, cost of living is higher. So I can describe what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do about it?
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm inspired by, and if you were all watching the last session with Bobby Jo Muehleman from the Boise City Chamber speaking with T.M. Rastegar, you heard her talk a little bit about how the business community is so invested in working to help tackle these problems alongside the public entities like the City of Boise and others. So Bobby Jo mentioned that starting this fall, the Chamber is going to be kicking off a pretty significant transportation initiative. Keep Idaho Moving, I believe, is what the name of it is. And that's led by the business community and some of our key leaders here that care deeply about seeing this region grow in a way that is able to accommodate what those future challenges will be without having to get there 20 years from now and wish that we had done something about it. So I think that's, again, something that's pretty unique about Boise is how closely the business community and public sector priorities are connected, and you get the right leadership in there to tackle those problems. It's really tough to make things not happen because of the way that collaboration facilitates those things happening.
Yeah.
Housing, you mentioned that too. That's another big one. Speaking on behalf of our mayor, that is probably the number one priority for our city leadership right now, is understanding how we can create a city that continues to be able to grow and provide options for housing for all income levels. That's a challenge, but we're getting there, and we're doing that through programs like the city's land trust. We have some significant partnerships with folks in the development community who have allowed those things to happen. And we're working with a community foundation to create a housing investment fund that funds wraparound services for those at the lowest end of the income spectrum to make sure that they can have a place, that they can have a home in Boise and continue to grow here and do that with their families over time. So, it's an all-hands effort, and it's something that I think I'm very proud of to see Boise be able to do and be able to pull off.
Yeah, and again, one of the unique things about Boise relative to other big cities in the country. So this is not just a Boise phenomenon or an Idaho phenomenon. We're seeing affordability issues around the country. And we're seeing a housing shortage around the country. There's a shortage of around 5 million housing units nationwide. So this dynamic is being felt everywhere. But what's unique about Boise and what's unique about Idaho is we have the tools to be successful. We've got really strong employment. We've got great employers, that are really driving a lot of this growth. So we have the tools. Yes, we have the problem, but we have the tools to address this problem in a way that a lot of other areas are really envy.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm proud to say that it is truly an effort hand in hand with the business community that's helping us address things like housing and transportation that are really fundamental to keeping this great entrepreneurial ecosystem growing and accessible to the folks who want to be here and be able to help build this economy we have of the future.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that 15 minutes flew by really fast. And time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Really enjoyed this conversation, Robert. I would love to keep this going.
Let's
do
just
it
go
again
for another
next year.
hour or two.
Yeah, right. I see the producers giving us the wrap it up look. So with that in mind, really proud of this Boise Entrepreneur Week. I'd just like to say thank you to all the leaders out there that made this happen. The sponsors of Boise Entrepreneur Week couldn't do it without you. We've had a phenomenal group of volunteers help to make this a successful event as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching Boise Entrepreneur Week live. Make sure to catch the main pitch competition tonight here at 5:30 at Jump, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. There's a lot more to come. So with that, thank you all, and till next time.